What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude, and yes, I am standing today because my back is still injured, but we will power through because it is August 5th, and I wouldn't not give you slop during the first week of August because we're so dedicated to the grind over here at You Know Ball. Sam, you excited to rank the front offices? We haven't done this in almost exactly 2 years.
We didn't do it last year?
No, we didn't. And
wow.
I only know that because Nate, who's a Wolves fan in the Discord, said you have to rank the front offices again. And he wanted me to do that clearly because last time I'm sure we were very low on the Wolves because keep in mind, this is a year removed from the Rudy trade. Yeah. Things were kind of a mess for them their first year. They had bad vibes. They were the 7 seed. They lose in the first round. And then ever since, they've completely turned it around, and we talk very highly of their front office now. Yeah. But we'll get to them later. I want to start here with some teams that have made moves in the past few days that we haven't had a chance to talk about. So the Lakers extended Luka Doncic.
Just like I said.
Just like Sam predicted. Sam actually, it's very funny. Sam about 2 days before did hear that Luka was getting extended and dropped it into the Discord. And he goes, I know the irony of me being the one to deliver this news. After I said, can we please not waste 10 minutes of the podcast talking about this like a week and a half ago?
Yeah, I was the one doing contrarian brain. And then I got a pretty reliable source who's like given me stuff in the past, who gave me like Jimmy Butler to the Warriors and stuff, said, yeah, like Luka's getting done in the next 2 days. I was like, fuck. after I went log on it. But yeah. And after I forget the name, the European reporter who I was going after him because the Discord was like translating like Lithuanian fucking not
Slovenian.
Yeah, Slovenian fucking
sure.
Like local reporters, and I was like, come on, like these guys aren't sourced, but he owned me.
Also, someone pointed out, they were like, I'm surprised Trill didn't know that Luka wasn't technically extension eligible until the beginning of August. And I was like, see, that could have avoided 5 to 10 minutes of the podcast being wasted on that, because we would have known that he couldn't even be extended at the time when we recorded that episode a few weeks ago. So
it's not a waste. You guys get to see a performance artist like me doing you guys love it. Don't pretend you don't love me making shit up and wish casting things. It's
also
fun for everyone.
The context of that argument was why the Luka trade wouldn't be too bad for the Mavericks if that happened. But people have pointed out it's still bad for the Mavericks because he would have re-signed there.
He definitely would have.
Yeah. So
because the whole crux of my argument was that they didn't have the Supermax available anymore.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. So like if the Mavericks had him, they definitely would have like re-signed.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's very funny because there were a few extensions this week that made me think a little bit differently about the trades that happened for those players to end up on their teams. And the Luka extension is one that makes me think somehow even higher on the Lakers.
They got it done.
And this trade just continues to look like more and more of a blowout every single day. You lock up a top 5 player in the NBA on, like you said, a sub super max, which lines him up to get that payday in a few years when he hits the 10-year mark. So in 2028, we can have Sam talk about maybe Luka leaving in free agency again. We can do that whole song and dance, which honestly, I might entertain that one a little bit, depending on how the Lakers look the next few years.
Yeah.
But ultimately what this contract is locking up one. We see players get this level of contract that aren't close to the level of Luka Doncic, and Luka Doncic
that same week.
Some might say one that we might discuss literally right after this. So I can't say that this isn't anything but a home run for the Lakers, just because, even if there was a very small chance that Luka could walk in free agency a year from now, it still feels like it gives them a little bit more runway to kind of tweak and build a team around him. Yeah. It gives them time to try to build this thing into a real contender around him. And ultimately, my whole feeling on the Luka trade has always been that the Lakers should have done it 100 times out of 100. I don't think that anyone pushes back against that. But now knowing that because of the way that this trade happened, that he's actually technically making less money than Anthony Davis the next 2 years.
That's very funny.
Is like, I looked at the list. Basically, I did a sorting. I did a TikTok on this the other day. I did a sorting of like everyone who makes between 50 and 55 million. And the only player you can make an argument for, and I'm talking about when the contract kicks in, which next year, the following year, the only player you can make an argument that is on Luka's level in this next year, making 55 million, is Giannis. Everyone else is like Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid because of the injuries. Paul George is close to this. Like there are at Jaylen Brown, like the players that you run through, you have to get all the way up to Giannis and Jokic, and obviously Tatum has the injury, and Tatum and those kind of guys who make a little bit more than that because they're with their original teams to reach a, like, I think that this is, from a value standpoint, one of the 5 best contracts in the NBA from a team perspective.
I mean, yeah, especially if Luka is, like healthy and everything like that. And you can kind of surround, you know what I'm saying? If you can get rid of all of the extra, like, just distraction, like type stuff, all the things that like boomers complain about with him, like, yeah, I certainly think so. I mean, this is, to your point about them giving themselves runway. I mean, I think that what's key about this is you get to finally you get to close the book on the LeBron James Lakers, which, I think was a success. You won a title with LeBron James, and you get to, but now you kind of get to begin the iteration of the next great like Lakers team, and you have the most important foundational piece of that, which is a surefire top 5 NBA player, not only a top 5 NBA player, like a ball dominant, shot creating, like offensive.
One of the easiest guys to build around, I think. I mean, because the thing is that he takes guys that are limited and makes them into effective players. We saw this with the Mavericks, and that's really the hack to team building, is to have a guy as good as Luka where he can score at all 3 levels. He's a legit playmaker that takes, the easiest kind of archetype to find in the NBA, the run, jump, and dunk center, and turns them into like a high caliber, potentially starting level center, and then can turn limited offensive players into like real, like playoff talent, basically. And I think looking at this right now, I'll just run off the list of players that make in this range: Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Evan Mobley, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid. And then if you have to get more than that in 26, 27, it's Anthony Davis and then Giannis. So, like, I think that this is undeniably one of the best value contracts from the team perspective. It doesn't change how I feel about the Lakers front office in general, though. Like, the Lakers front office in general, every front office would have done this, and this is just another cherry on top of the trade in the first place. The only part of the Luka trade that's still impressive to me is the fact that Rob Pelinka didn't run his mouth to Ramona Shelburne or Dave McMenamin or someone that is, a Lakers mouthpiece. Like I'm surprised we didn't get an article maybe the day the trade happened about how the Lakers didn't want to include the first round pick for Luka.
Yeah. The narrative, like, building. I mean, they honestly just keeping that in house was so important because, part of the reason this trade is so staggering is because they didn't shop Luka.
Yeah.
So, like, not letting any other team know, because if this leaks and other teams know that Luka Doncic is available, there's a chance they try to save Nico Harris from himself and are like, hey, whoa. Hey, how about a much better package? How about that? Yeah. How about a much better package?
I've thought about it, and I know we've talked about it a lot, but like no, like franchise-changing players have moved teams since, so it's hard for me to say. And it seems like Giannis is just going to stay his whole career with the Bucks.
Yeah.
So, like, Giannis was the first guy I remember we were all like, could they have gotten Giannis? Yeah. Because mainly due to the fact that we all thought that Giannis would ask out, but now it doesn't seem like it's going to go down that path, at least for this upcoming season into next offseason. So I'm trying to think of like who the best player they could have got for him was. I still go back and forth with Anthony Edwards just because of the age. Yeah. But like, if you just put Luca on that team, like they already had a ready-made team for Luca.
Yeah, for Luca, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the one complication with that is very funny. One complication with that is they were a second apron team, so they couldn't aggregate salary. So that actually would have been almost impossible to pull off.
Aren't they? Are there funds? Is he still on his rookie deal? No, he's not.
No, he's on a max, but it's not close to Luca's max. You'd still have to get like 15 million more, I think, or maybe not. That
yeah,
much.
I guess you can't. Yeah, I guess if you can't aggregate salary, that's kind of the end of that.
Well, yeah. I know Luca made All NBA on his first contract, so I'm assuming that he's making a lot more. I don't know if Anthony Edwards did.
Yeah, it might not.
That's the question. I don't. Maybe if he didn't make that much more, it actually technically was possible. But we're getting sidetracked here.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they could have gotten a much better player. They got Anthony Davis in his 30s. The Lakers got away with it. We've talked about that ad nauseum. But there are other moves this offseason, and just in general, looking at them big picture. I think that they definitely. So we have to take the whole Pelinka. He's one of the longest running GMs in the NBA. So we have to take all of his big picture stuff into account here. So I don't really necessarily give him credit for LeBron.
Yeah.
I don't know how to go about. I think they did a good job building that team around LeBron for a year or two. And then they slowly dismantled it to the point where it didn't look anything like that by 2022. And then the Westbrook trade blows up in their face. The last time we did this, we probably put them in C or D category. But the loop between Austin Reeves becoming as good as he is, even though they kind of suck at drafting now, which used to be their strong suit.
Yeah.
But between Austin Reeves becoming as good as he did, the Luka trade happening, regardless of whether we think that they should get credit for that or not.
It did happen.
It did happen. They got it done. They got it over the finish line. They pulled off the heist of the century. And
yeah, it is like literally the best. I mean, now I don't have a leg to stand on. It probably is the worst trade of them.
Yeah. Most lopsided, for sure.
Yeah. Most lopsided trade of the recent years, for sure. So,
and then also this offseason, I know we talked a little bit about it. I think that considering everything, they did about as much as they could with how little they had.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a narrow window to thread. It's very impressive to me that they got a championship out of that LeBron James window. Like, to be totally honest, I know we've talked about this like ad nauseum. I don't think that team was like particularly special. And I think they really maximized, between the Rondo signing, between Caruso kind of becoming what he was, having Kuzma. I don't think a lot of these were Pelinka, right?
He acquired almost all of them, I think.
Oh yeah. So Dennis Schroeder the first time around was like really good for them. Like,
well, was he? That's the thing, is that was kind of the beginning of the end for them. We've talked about this, where they traded Danny Green in the first round pick for Dennis Schroeder.
I mean,
and he was bad for them, and then he walked in free agency.
Well, but they didn't pay him.
No, and then they got him back on a minimum, and he was better for them. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think the Dennis Schroeder thing, like, they didn't pay him. I think a lot of teams would have been pressured to give Dennis Schroeder. That's one of the worst bag fumbles of all time.
I mean, they tried. I almost want to hold that against them.
I guess that's true.
They got, once again, some of this is luck, but some of this is also don't give Dennis Schroeder, when he's like 27 and never been a starting level point guard, $22 million per year. Like, that would just be expiring now.
What do we think about, and looking back on it, the second Westbrook trade, the Westbrook to the Jazz? So
that's the one that it's very funny, because the only one left is Jared Vanderbilt, and but they at least turned D'Lo into Dorian Finney-Smith, but then they lost him. So we talked about this recently. They basically gave up a top 5, top 6 protected pick. I can't remember what the protections were on that pick that Utah owns. It's obviously not that bad now because it's in 2027 and they have Luka. Yeah. But ultimately, they gave up a first-round pick for basically Jared Vanderbilt, 2 seasons of D'Angelo Russell, and half a season of Dorian Finney-Smith. Malik Beasley was instantly gone.
Yeah.
So that actually is like, I don't want to say it's, I think it's fair value. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't see it as like obviously the Jazz are feeling pretty good about it now because they just didn't care about any of those players. Yeah. And Jared Vanderbilt signing that contract, that looks fucking terrible. A few years later, the margin moves for them have been very hit or miss. The margin moves are either like Austin Reeves undrafted. I like the Jake LaRavia pickup. Ayton and Smart were fine flyers this offseason.
Rui for seconds
was solid.
Good. Yeah.
But then you have Gabe Vincent, horrible. Jared Vanderbilt, horrible. You have all of these kind of. He's just a very hit or miss GM to me. Like I think
they're still C. Maybe
I had them as C.
Strength. I had them as C on the strength of. I think purely on the strength of the Luka trade, we might have to bump them up to B though.
All right, let's put them in B for now.
Yeah,
we'll see. I'm going to put them in B. Yeah. I don't feel strongly about them being in B or C either way, so you could talk me into either one because they've seen the highest of the highs. They've won a championship. They've been back to the conference finals, and they've also dismantled a title contender for no apparent reason, which, once again, how much credit of that goes against LeBron? How much of that goes against Pelinka? Pelinka also, another wrinkle. They tried to trade for Jeremy Grant on this contract. The Blazers saved them. They tried to trade for Jeremy Grant on this contract right now before the Luka trade happened. And that would have been a disaster for them too.
You do need a little luck. Danny Ainge tried to trade the Jaylen Brown pick for fucking Justice Winslow. You know, like there's these are all throughout. The Pacers tried to sign DeAndre Ayton. You know, there's so many of them. There's so many of these like throughout the years. So I think it's kind of hard to hold what didn't happen against them. You know, like I think ultimately the Luka trade is like way better than like the Russell Westbrook trade was bad. You know, like so I'm inclined to think B. You know,
I'm gonna agree with you for this reason and this reason only.
Yeah,
I think the LeBron and AD title window was already closed. The Westbrook thing just made it worse.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they were winning another championship. Now, maybe could they have gotten to a little Mickey Mouse finals or, they made the conference finals that year. Like, it's not impossible they could have won. But every year, other than the Warriors year, they were very clearly not even close to and they were not good the Warriors year when they won the title in 2022, to be clear. But what I'm trying to say is that other than that Warriors team, which was a bit of a flash in the pan, they weren't close to the Nuggets when they won the championship. They weren't close to the Celtics when they won the championship, and they weren't close to the Thunder the year they won the championship. So, like, to me, I think that window was probably already done, and the Westbrook thing just made it worse because they missed the playoffs entirely, and it was a vibes disaster. So I think B is fine, even though I think they got absolutely bailed out by the Luka trade. But sometimes that, like you said, sometimes it takes some luck.
I think they've had a better front office run than the intelligence in their front office, which I think is very indicative of a Lakers front office.
Before we move off this, what do they do with Austin Reeves?
I'd trade him for a big. I really would.
I mean, here's the thing:
the right big. You can't just be for like a big. You can't.
Does Austin Reeves have
Kessler?
Does he have any trade value as an expiring contract? And does he get a crazy overpay and then have no trade value a year from now? Like that's a thing where I think they kind of like, if they were to trade Austin Reeves, it would have had to been this offseason.
I think they could still do it.
They could. They definitely could. I don't think it's off the table. I mean, I personally would. And I think Austin Reeves is a really good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's one of the better third options in the NBA. Yeah. But I also think that if your desire is to build a championship level team around Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves will not be on that team. There's no way. They're too redundant in skill set. I think that even though he's a great secondary creator, I think if you're building a team around Luka, everyone has to be a positive defender.
I honestly like something like this isn't like perfect value, but something like Reeves for Gafford in a first just makes so much sense for both teams. To be honest,
I mean, look, the Mavericks would never do another trade like this just because I think there's the risk of them having too much egg on their face. But like Reeves, I've thought about Reeves in a pick for Lively.
Yeah, or the other way. Yeah, or you're the one adding a pick for Lively. Sure,
yeah. But I don't think that they would do that. Also, we'll see with the Lively stuff. But I have heard I think he's injured again, which is not great. That's for not good.
Yeah, wasn't he injured in college too, or am I making that up?
I think he's had some injury problems. Yeah. I don't think it's been great. I don't think it's been great.
And he wasn't like great last year.
No, I mean he is very reliant on having a Luca style creator, I think, to be maximized. Now, I think he'll still be a good player, but I don't think it's going to be quite as synergistic on offense with Flag as it was with Luca. Now, defensively, that pairing with AD at the 4 is like fucking stupid. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. All right. So we just talked about the best contract in the NBA. Let's talk about the worst contract in the NBA. De'Aaron Fox has signed an extension with the Spurs. Look, I had people pushing back on, I'm sure they were Spurs fans that found my YouTube short / TikTok on this. There's no way around it. This is a disaster.
Yo, put some respect. Let's talk about
Rich Paul's
Mr. Adele. Yeah, like
absolute king
is like if you don't have Rich Paul or Bartelstein as an agent, you're leaving money on the table. Those two are the growth. And I think if you're Bartelstein will help you if you're like a middle tier guy. I think Rich Paul is the best like big name agent. Like if you're
for sure
if you want to max.
No, but Rich it's not only do you want to max, it's literally looking. I don't think that an agent has ever worked a trade better than the Fox trade because he got Levine to the Kings where he wanted to go and just take a bunch of shots.
Yeah.
He got Fox because he's also a Levine who was on a crazy contract for Zach Levine.
Yeah.
And then he got Fox to go play with Victor Wembanyama in the middle of Fox's prime. Got him a second max. This is a player that has made one All-NBA team, third team, one All-Star team in 8 years in the NBA. And I know it's harder for guards. I know the bar's higher. I know there are things like, Julius Randle's made some All-NBAs. Sabonis has made All-NBAs. And you can make arguments that Fox is on that level of player for sure. Having said that, I just think an athletic guard in his late 20s who is now going to make $220 million in 4 years. I mean, I just listed off all the guys that are making in that range, right? Would you take any of them without the injury guys like Joel and Paul George? You would take every other player that I listed off over De'Aaron Fox.
Absolutely.
I don't even think the only player that's an argument, I think, is Jamal Murray. I think it's Jamal's the only one. And like maybe Jalen just because Jalen makes a lot more, but like Jalen's a wing at least. Like I just think that this De'Aaron Fox deal is going to be like, I think the Spurs are in way over their head for doing this.
Yeah. And we've kind of come the other way around where it's like, De'Aaron Fox was like, oh my God, this poor guy, he's like a victim of the Kings, like, and they're like incompetence, which is like true, but
definitely
like
true. Yeah.
Yeah. But now we've like come too far the other way where it's like, okay, but like now, like, what are you good at? You're like a middling 3-point shooter. You used to be like one of the best at rim guys in the NBA now, but kind of by virtue of becoming like
that's
normal
the
3-point shooter, you're not the at rim, like pressure guy. You're not that elite finisher anymore. So like, what are you good at as like a max contract player? And more particularly, like, where are you adding that value? Because like pick the 15th best like point guard in the NBA. Like, is De'Aaron Fox that much better than whoever the 15th best player in the NBA, like point guard is in the NBA? Like,
that's probably the most stacked position in the NBA, which I know Bill Simmons has talked a lot about, and it's why it's hard to find trades for players like De'Aaron Fox and Trae Young and players that are very good. Darius Garland, very good players, but this is a positional group that features some of the best players. And we joked about how even if you're a good shooting guard, they just call you a point guard now. like there are no good twos anymore because everyone who would have been called a two now is just called a one because they have the ball a ton. So look, De'Aaron Fox is really, really talented. Like you said, should be a paint touch, rim finishing guy that is just, one of the best rim pressure guys in the NBA, but he has, he's worked more of a mid-range bag and 3-point shot into his game, which will definitely extend his career because he won't take as many hits and mileage and stuff like that. But when your best skill is finishing around the rim, and he is one of the 2 or 3 best guard finishers in the NBA, and you don't get to the rim anymore, I don't really know what to do with that, especially when you just drafted a guy with the 2nd pick of the draft who also has that as his best skill. So I just think that this is, I think that I hate to go Bill mode, but like, who are they bidding against? Like, if De'Aaron Fox is not going to leave $20 million on the table, let him fucking walk in free agency, dude. Like you just drafted a player who is very similar to him, will probably have to play big minutes with him and not be maximized because of that. And I don't know. I think Fox is like pretty good at a bunch of stuff. I think his one skill, like you said, is the finishing around the rim, and he doesn't really want to do that anymore. He wants to play more in the mid-range from 3. He wants to be more of a perimeter-based player. And if that is the case, then I think there's going to be a lot of issues. And I think that him getting paid this much money on a team that is very desperate for any sort of wing and forward play is just not a maximization of what they can do.
Let me just run through some names here for you. SGA, Tyrese Halliburton, Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brunson, Darius Garland. Okay. I think those are all solidly
better,
better guys. Okay. Then we've got like James Harden, LaMelo Ball, Trae Young, Ja Morant, Jamal Murray. Like,
I would take him over Ja just because of the injury stuff. But sure. I think if Ja wasn't injured, then I would take Ja over Fox.
And then we're talking about like Fred VanVleet, Drew Holiday, Tyrese Maxey. That's a pretty quick. I think that's 11, 12 names I've just read off. Like, I
would still take him over Fred VanVleet, but yeah, and Drew.
But that's still like, and the point though, there being,
you're right though. No, he's in the 10 to 15 range of point guards.
Of point guards, not of players, of his position. Like,
right. People say, well, he's a top 30, 25 player. I disagree. I don't think he is.
Yeah.
I think he's more like a top 40 player. And a lot of people will, like, to me, for example, I love Tyrese Maxey. He's one of my favorite Sixers. If he can, we just talked about in the last episode, if he, as like a make or break guy with him going into next year, if he kind of just levels out for the next 2 or 3 years, he should not get a second max contract. Like, that would be absurd. And that's basically what De'Aaron Fox did. And like, he's, to be clear, he's better than when he signed his first max. Sure. But if you sign a non-top 25, 30 player to one of these contracts, you basically have to have everything else perfect to be a contender. Like, we've seen this. Karl-Anthony Towns and Jaylen Brown are the only ones on contenders that have these massive contracts that aren't clearly in the top 15 or 20.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, Jaylen Brown had to like sneak like what I think most people would consider kind of a Mickey Mouse all NBA. And I don't think is it like even realistic to consider De'Aaron Fox ever making all NBA? Like, everything would have to go right. Like, a ton of people would have to go get injured. Like, it's not.
Well, and also like, it's once again positional value stuff where Karl-Anthony Towns is one of the best big shooters of all time. And Jaylen Brown is a wing, so a two-way wing. Like, those kind of players don't grow on trees. De'Aaron Fox, literally, you just listed off, they basically does at this point. And I think it's horrible. Like I think that it is reflective of the Spurs' new front office being the most, other than maybe a team that we'll talk about a little bit later, the most overrated front office in the NBA, and they're coasting off of R.C. Buford and Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan era, because they jumped up in the draft twice now to grab really a generational player and a really, really good player. And they're getting credit despite like none of the contracts they sign return great value. The one thing I think they do well as a front office is when they make these trades, those pick swaps they get.
Yes.
They've gotten pick swaps, which I do think they use one of the picks that they got from the Rob Dillingham trade in this. So like, look, I mean, they basically turned the Rob Dillingham pick into, at least part of that into De'Aaron Fox. But like I said at the time of the trade, like I like the trade for them because it was before I knew they would get Harper. And also I figured they would negotiate a little bit on this contract. Like I figured they would get him at 180 million or 200 million, not 220 million for, once again, a very good, talented player that is just, it doesn't make sense to me. Like the best moves they make are those taking out those far out swaps on teams that are desperate. And they've done a great job of that. I think that could end up paying off for them in a big way. But I don't know. I think that they're one of the most overrated front offices in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I hated the fucking trade, and I thought, I mean, I thought the whole thing, a part of this was I
doubted Rich Paul.
Well, and just the outlay of, like, would you rather have like you're sending out the draft capital for around your young player to try to be good immediately, and it's not like totally fair because like, would the Spurs have like made the playoffs if Wemby doesn't like, if the blood clot thing doesn't happen?
They're probably like a 10 seed or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just don't think I just don't think the value was there for that. And like, yes, you don't know that like Harper's going to like jump up, but like, is it really like that much different than like having like Jeremiah Fears? You know what I'm saying? Like Harper's like more well regarded, but if you told me I
mean, yes, it is. Yeah. Dylan Harper's way better than Fears.
Let me put it this way. If you told me that I would get my brains blown out if Jeremiah Fears is better than Harper this year, I feel okay. I'm nervous though.
You want to take that bet?
No, I don't.
You want me to shoot you on the podcast?
I mean, like, look, Dylan Harper is like very good, but like, again, he is.
All right, I agree with you when you say Trey or VJ, but you're like, he is way better than Jeremiah Fears, dude.
Sure, I don't. Whatever. Pick a point guard. Pick someone in that like 10 to 14 range that you feel better about. Like I don't know. Like who's your favorite guy who went in that range? Like
Colin Boyles. What was he? 9?
Yeah.
I don't really think
watch.
Yeah, sure. I don't really think there's like a massive difference. I mean, look, but ultimately the point here is that they rushed to make a trade they didn't need to rush to make.
Yeah.
He wasn't a free agent, right?
Yeah.
He didn't have an option, I don't think.
No.
I think he had a year left on the deal no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's why I just, once again, I don't understand. I think that they're incredibly overrated. I mean, they've been trying to move Keldon Johnson or Devin Vassell, and no one wants those contracts.
It's also just not like, is De'Aaron Fox the only guy that fits around Wemby? Wemby is the cheat code. Why are you going out of your way to like,
yeah,
De'Aaron Fox is a fine player. He's not bringing any skill, like really besides like rim pressure. And there's like other rim pressure guys.
That's they have 2 of them on their team.
Yeah.
I mean, one they didn't know they were going to have. But like Castle's a rim pressure guy.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Sohan's a rim pressure guy too. Like, I don't know.
It didn't make sense to me at the time, and it looks like even worse now. So I don't know. Like they might still get away with it just because Wemby's Wemby, and the biggest way to not have any issues is to draft a generational player. So
right. That's why I still feel like we should put them in C. What do you think? Because I think the Castle pick was good. Castle, I know they got the
It's
fourth.
fine.
It's hard to say the fourth pick of the draft, but I mean, they could have gotten some. Who was five? Ron was 5. Tidjon Sloan was 6. That's a horrible pick. Who was 7? Klingon.
I don't know. I don't think like
I don't know if I feel that much better about Castle. Look, I mean, I liked all of those guys pre-draft. I was lower on Castle, but I thought he really impressed me as a rookie.
I think he's like fine. Like he won rookie of the year. Like, you know, let me put it this way. I would rather have, as much as I gave him shit, I would rather have why am I blanking on Hawks player wing, number 1 overall pick?
Ricochet?
I would rather have Ricochet than Castle. But like
that wasn't really an option, so that's not.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that doesn't. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I do think not that his rookie of the year is Mickey Mouse, but it's like I feel like that might be a Malcolm Brogdon style rookie of the year when we look back on it a little bit.
It's definitely possible. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I just so here's my thing about putting them in C tier. Outside of the Victor Wembanyama, which is a no-brainer pick that anyone.
Okay, but hold on. I agree, and you have to. We just talked about how you have to have a little bit of luck, right?
Right.
The bad front offices chose not to tank that year. Like they didn't even give themselves a fucking shot at getting Victor Wembanyama.
That's true.
And I'm just like, I do think that choosing when to tank is also part of it because they built up the DeJounte Murray thing to sell on him at the highest point of his value. And then they used the next year to tank. Now the Derek White trade did not work out for them. At least it doesn't look like it.
It's like possible.
Once again, the swaps. I think they do good with the swaps. I think that's the best part of their GMing.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm just going to say, I think ultimately the long story short on this is that I think that they've done well on those little moves that might end up paying off for them long term. And they have such a wide margin for error. They tanked for basically the last 3 years. I mean, they didn't put a good enough team around Wemby, and they got one of the better players at the top of that draft with Castle, and they got a lot of luck this time around jumping up that high for Harper. You're more of a Carter Bryant guy than me, but he's a fine pick for me at 14.
Yeah.
I think they're getting better is what I'm trying to say. Is I think they're figuring out since 2022, other than the Vassell extension, which has not aged well, they haven't really made any and the Fox trade plus extension. They haven't made any moves that I would just say are flat out bad. The Cornet signing was fine. I think that is pretty much that style of player is going to work well with them. I would like to see them continue to push in the chips though around Wemby for sure. But yeah, I'm putting them C because I don't think that they're a disaster. I just think that they're they've gotten some luck. They've made some decent moves. They've also made some really questionable moves.
I'm reading this article here from October of 2023. Spurs Zach Collins signs reported 2-year, $35 million contract.
Oh God, that one was bad. That was bad. You know what else was bad? The fucking Josh Primo pick.
Yeah.
Which even before he was outed as a pervert and a demon,
wasn't good.
He was
Also
bad.
wasn't good.
He was a bad player, and the Sohan pick is. I mean, who went after him? J-Dub? Was J-Dub the best one on the board there?
Yeah.
J-Dub was never going in the top 10 of that.
I was going to say J-Dub. That's a little hard because
Johnny Davis was the pick after him. I'd rather have Sohan than Johnny Davis.
Yeah.
Usman Jang. I'd rather have him over Usman Jang. The J-Dub pick
is fine. Yeah. I think the Sohan pick is fine. I don't think it's fair to.
I'm not a big Sohan guy, but
holding J-Dub against people is kind of like holding Giannis against people. It's once a certain number of people teams pass on someone, it's not really on you. It's more the benefit of the team drafting them. So Keldon Johnson, again, good value where they got him, and then they extend him on that number, and he's not tradable.
I don't even think his contract is that bad. I just think that it feels like that he got that kind of player got phased out immediately after he signed it, and it was not good vision by them to not see that kind of thing coming. But
just didn't get any value. I guess what I'm saying is they just didn't get any value out of their bad years.
All right, it's
draft.
been like 40 minutes and we've done 2 teams, so let's move on to the next team.
I think they should be D, but I'll give you C. We'll
all right. We'll revisit at the end.
Okay.
The Knicks signed Mikal Bridges to I don't know if you saw this, but he took a slight discount.
He left a little cheese on the table.
Very,
OG left a little cheese on the table.
very good guy, you know.
Yeah, nice of him.
Very nice of him to go out of his way and
Sacrificing for the team.
just like Jalen Brunson. This is exactly just like what Jalen Brunson did last offseason, where he decided, you know what? We have a chance to contend, and I'll only take $37.5 million per year. So honestly, good for Bridges. He should do this. Like, I'm not mad at Fox or Bridges for taking the money.
No.
And also, I also think the Knicks situation is different than the Spurs situation. Like,
this is not as bad as Fox.
No. And the Knicks situation is, this is it. Like, he might not have trade value in a few years. Well, our window's the next 2 years, so that doesn't really matter. The one thing I will say is I think that the Knicks have done a fantastic job building this team to the level that it is right now. They've won many trades. They've gotten a top 12 player for nothing in free agency. They've been decent at drafting, actually, getting good value late, other than like, what?
I was just going to say, honestly, I think only their transactions around Mikal Bridges are the only thing I'm like kind of.
I agree. No, everything else has made sense. I think that the Bridges trade was a crazy overpay, but they got to the conference finals.
The OG trade was a fucking masterclass. We talked about that last time.
I think the Hart trade was really good.
Yeah, the Hart trade was great. Yeah,
I think the Cat Randall trade was understandable. I think that I think if they had a chance to go back, they would undo that, but they didn't, because they didn't know that Julius Randle was only going to get 30 million and actually be somewhat playable in the playoffs this year. So
I still think they would do it, just because a Cat, like, it does kind of help your offense. You know what I'm saying? And that is, like, I think you've got to be elite at something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that their defense is terrible now, but like,
well, they did it because they thought they needed a center, but I think that's a misdiagnosis because Cat is a 4. like that.
Well, maybe they just start Mitchell Robinson now that they have a new coach. Like,
for sure, they probably will. But here's my point: is that they would have started Mitchell Robinson either way, and they would have played a little bit more of a disgusting style of basketball, but one that. All right, I'll say this much. Cat probably gives them a higher floor. I think Randall, if we got this version of Randall, probably gives them a higher ceiling just because he's a better two-way player. Because the Brunson Cat fit at the highest levels of the playoffs is going to be a struggle, even when you have good defensive wings to kind of insulate some of their issues. And we saw that in the Pacers series. Like, they were great up until then. They beat Boston. They once again, this is nothing against their front office. Like, I think their front office has done a really good job. I think if there was, I think they got a little bit in over their skis last offseason. And we talked about that, is that they made every move correct up until then. Debatable, giving away Quentin Grimes for basically nothing. That one is not looking too great right now. But they made so many good, smart moves forever. And then they made those 2 moves, and I think the Bridges trade is a lot, and I think that the Cat trade is understandable, but they might go back and undo it. I don't know. Maybe they will.
Are they one of the only teams? I guess Mitchell Robinson, where only, and he doesn't start for them right now, where none of their starters they drafted.
Yeah, they've got to be. I mean, I mean, well. Do the Lakers start anyone? No, the Lakers don't, because Austin Reeves was undrafted.
Austin Reeves, comes off the bench.
He'll start.
Well, then, now he will. And I think, like, I don't know. Like, I think that I'm thinking A for the Knicks, even with those.
I had them as A.
Missteps, because I think that they've been, up until then, they were like basically perfect. Like, that was an unreal run. You do all of these things. I mean, Jalen Brunson, the Jalen Brunson acquisition is one of the great, like, moves of the last, like, few years.
Mm-hmm.
You did. You made a face like you didn't agree.
No, I agreed. No, and I was also thinking that he took a discount to stay with the team so they could build this team.
Yeah.
And it makes it so that them overpaying for Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges doesn't matter as much because they can still build a functional team because Jalen Brunson doesn't make De'Aaron Fox money.
Right. Deuce McBride is a great pick. I mean, you turn even when you make a mistake with like RJ Barrett and like the extension to pivot out of it. We've talked about this a lot about how like everybody makes mistakes. It's kind of how you pivot out of it that like defines like the good general managers.
Yeah. And deciding that they weren't going to pay quickly and then turning him into OG along with RJ is amazing. Yeah.
It's really good. And that's how you end up a good NBA like front office. Like you do have to be kind of cold to your own guys. And Randall was your found money guy. It's kind of your signing. He was your Brunson before Brunson, and you turn him into Cat. And that one's a little more like back or forth. But I think
Dante was also another found money guy, and he was involved in that trade. So they've made now look, this window is probably the next 2 to max 3 years. This is it because they don't have any young guys coming up. They don't have something that could possibly extend the window unless we get Giannis going with 1 year left. Only trade me to the Knicks. There are so few ways for them to extend this window, but that's fine. You do that for this window. You've already made the conference finals. You've won 5 playoff series with this core, and now you have a chance at winning the East and maybe the title next year. So I think the only reason I don't put them in S is because I still am skeptical that at the higher levels they'll ever be able to win a championship with that defensive duo. But it's not the fault necessarily of the front office to take that swing. I completely understand why they took the swing. So I think they're clearly in the top 5 front offices right now.
Yeah, the thing I'm still kind of looking through what were the ingredients that's front office inherited, because what the
they had nothing.
Draft. The Frank Ntilikina draft was what? That was
2017.
2017. Okay, so
this front office didn't take over until 2020.
Yeah, so here are the draft, the high draft picks they were inheriting. Frank Ntilikina 8 in 2017. 2018, Kevin Knox at 9. Mm-hmm. 2019, RJ Barrett at 3. This is, Obi Toppin, who's probably the best thing that they inherit.
They drafted him though.
Okay, so that's the start of them drafting.
Yeah,
Obi Toppin at 8, and
Obi's a whiff, but he's a fine player.
Whiff.
Okay, the only reason I think Obi's a whiff is because they didn't get any value back for him. They got a single second round pick when he was clearly fine. Yeah. And then on top of that, everyone wanted them to draft Halliburton. Everyone wanted them to draft Halliburton. It's not it's not a hindsight bias thing by me. I remember everyone wanting that for them.
Everybody wanted everyone to draft Halliburton. It was just bizarre that Halliburton fell in that draft. I do think that one, not as much, but I do think that one is a little bit of the Warriors should have drafted Halliburton.
For sure.
Yeah.
Phil said that before the draft.
You're right.
No. All right.
Everybody should have, but then and they draft and then Quentin Grimes the next year. Again, they let him walk.
Great pick. But he still gave them value for a few years and was in a range where a lot of those guys weren't NBA players.
They had the draft pick for Ousmane Dieng. Now they could have drafted Jalen Williams in 2022, I guess, but
whatever.
I don't know, drafting trading back with them and for the Dieng, that's Presti's only miss, and you were the beneficiary of that, So they had, I guess my point here is that the Knicks had nothing. You want to talk about a masterclass of, the idea is the only way you can build a team is by
tanking and drafting.
And they didn't get high profile agents. I guess I know Jalen Brunson was a free agent, but that wasn't wow, the glitz and glamour of New York. That was we hired his dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I guess I just, I think that the way the Knicks built this team is something that would be pretty replicable for like a small market team, I guess is what I'm saying. And I think they did a very good job. And I think they're one of our best front offices, even if I think what they sent out for Mikal Bridges was crazy. And it's not necessarily a good extension to
last thing on the Knicks. The
Yeah.
only thing is that once this is over, they're going to have to get lucky again because they don't have anyone on their team other than Jalen Brunson and maybe Deuce McBride who have real trade value on their current contracts, at least. Like the amount Karl Anthony Towns makes, the amount OG Anunoby makes, the amount Mikal Bridges makes. The in terms of like getting real stuff back for him, but once again, I don't really care about that. Like if you're in the middle of your window, then it doesn't matter. I'm just pointing out a fact, which I did think was interesting when I looked at the team. Like most teams could be like, well, we can always trade this guy. The only guy they really could trade is Brunson, and he's their guy, so they're not going to trade him. So.
I think they're going to let this team. I don't think they're ever going to blow this team up. I think they're going to ride this team. Like this team is slowly going to get worse. I think we're going to see some iteration or some form of this team for the next 5 years, and they won't be in contention anymore the way that they are right now. But like, I think Knicks fans are going to ultimately be kind of fine with that. Like, hey. It was bad for a long time.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Celtics made a trade today. They salary dumped George Niang and 2 second-round picks for RJ Lewis Jr. and
Chuck wants us to put respect on that name.
And that's Chuck's guy.
That's Chuck's guy. Yep.
Who we haven't even seen because he was injured, didn't play in summer league. I believe he signed as an undrafted free agent on a 2-way with the Jazz, which I didn't even know you could trade him this soon.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Which was interesting. So they got 2 seconds to take on George Niang. George Niang goes back home to the Jazz where he started. Actually, I think he technically started on the Pacers, but that's besides the point. It's a salary dump. They're saving a bunch of money on the tax. They're getting closer to being able to dodge the tax entirely by the end of this season.
More specifically, restarting the clock on the repeater, I think is what they're looking for here. So
because they just got under the second apron, right?
Well, they're out of the second apron, but they would have to get under the tax. But like, I think it's not just about look, I don't want to do apology for like ownership, but like
they should
the
be
longer you're in the repeater, it really fucking hurts. Like,
well, and also it just doesn't make sense to spend a ton of fucking money on a team that has no chance of winning the championship.
Right.
Like your best player's out. Who cares? Like, And it's not like your best player, like you've already won the championship, and it's not like your best player that you spent. Like, it's not like the Pacers. Where the Pacers ownership group is like, we'll just let Miles Turner walk, even though Tyrese Halliburton just took us to the finals. We almost won the finals, and he'll be back and still fairly young in a year? Like I don't know. That to me, that is way more egregious than what the Celtics have done this offseason, which is basically getting off of a bunch of money we didn't know if they were going to be able to get off of, and saving a ton and trying to get under the repeater, whatever. They signed Chris Boucher too, who's probably just better than George Niang, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Or at least on the same level of player.
He's a little bit overrated by the nerds. We've talked about him before about how he's kind of a stocks merchant,
Brad Stevens is not beating the Dunks and Threes premium subscription allegations.
Yeah.
He's like a high guy on like EPM and Darko, and it does not match, but he's a fine backup.
He's fine. On the minimum, that's
who
fine.
cares?
Who
cares?
Like, and especially if you're getting him on the minimum, what's important to me here is like you sign him for this, you could trade him at the trade deadline. If he looks good and like a team actually needs like a playoff push, they're going to need guys on like
you could get those seconds you just lost back.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's a great move. And I hope that that's the plan. Like, let's let Chris Boucher, because it's very funny because they did this like right after the Chris Boucher. I think they were waiting on this to do these in concert, but in the 3 minutes between Shams notifications, I tweeted out like the Celtics were going to start in their front court 2 of Xavier Tillman, Luca Garza, and Nehemias Queta as their starters. They're fully healthy team starters. Like,
that's pretty bad.
Which, that's got to be the worst.
So Boucher's probably going to start for them now, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think that was part of him signing for the minimum was,
He'll block shots and he'll put up a lot of threes.
Yeah.
All right. So who I put them in S. I'm not going to waste time. They won a championship. Brad Stevens is clearly one of the best GMs. The only thing I think that we haven't seen from him is he just doesn't really draft.
Yeah.
And like he might suck at it, but we don't really know yet. So there's not a ton of information to go off.
Yeah.
You missed on Jordan Walsh, but he was a second round pick.
JD Davison. Yeah.
JD Davison's gone. I think he was also a second round pick.
Did not looking good on Baylor Shireman. I'm not hopeful.
Baylor. The only guy that we all thought they should have taken Filipowski. So this isn't even like he would have been great for you guys this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Sure. But other than that, I don't know. Late first, early second isn't a perfect science.
We'll see. We'll see about Hugo. I'm skeptical, but other people are high on him.
Yeah. So we'll see. We still have no information, but like for right now, they're S tier. The only thing is who is better, OKC or Boston? Who's the best?
OKC. You have to say OKC.
I was gonna say people said I can't wait for Sam to be contrarian. I was like, Sam put OKC in the S tier 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think like my issue. Like, look, I think Sam Presti is a coward, but like the empirical evidence, they're the best. They're literally there's no argument. They're the best front office. Like it's not by any meaningful concrete standard. They won the title. They traded for the MVP out of nowhere.
They could win the title again next year.
They found a way to sit Shea for 2 years without losing second round draft picks. Like that's all part of the game. The game is the game, man. And like
they got J-Dub.
They got the drafting. Jalen Williams looks like one of the best. Where did we put the J-Dub pick when we just did this value draft? Like
top 5. Yeah, I was gonna say it was one of the best value picks that we've ever seen.
We called Pascal Siakam pick where the Warriors won the title. That's where the Thunder won the title. Was the J-Dub pick. So like that's the move. I think Chet, looks like even with him kind of being hurt and like, we'll see how that ends up. He was the right pick there. Like it's not, you can't really make an argument for Jabari or whoever. Was there anyone even worth talking about? No. Because they got Jalen Williams was the one that picked after him. They also
because they have 2 of the 3 best players from that draft. Like there's no argument. So all right.
You'd have to go like way back, but like I think we've talked about like he's been there so long. There's so many moves. Like the Paul George re-signing is one of the great. Forget about the trade. Getting him to re-sign is like one of the craziest.
Building 2 different finals teams, acquiring 4 different MVPs.
Yeah.
I mean it's insane. Like it's So we'll go Thunder 1, Celtics 2. Yeah. And right now we have the Knicks at 3, but we'll see if we end up moving them throughout this. So I think that they are the best front office right now. We talk about them all the time. We don't need to talk about them anymore. Who is the worst front office? There's a few candidates.
I was going to say, let me run through my candidates. Okay. Our beloved Chicago Bulls. We talk about them all the time. They've been in the mix here for several years.
Is Rich Paul Karnisovas' agent? I gotta look that up.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should find that out because it certainly seems like it. I think the Sacramento Kings, particularly their last year, they had kind of elevated themselves above this. In recent years, I think they are back pretty squarely in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Utah Jazz also need to have a little bit of a discussion about the Utah Jazz too.
So here was my list of teams I considered for this.
Yeah.
The Bulls, the Kings, the Suns, the Jazz.
Suns, yeah.
Those are the ones I really considered.
Yeah.
There are a few that like should get a shout, like the Raptors recently.
Yeah.
We'll see with the Pels. We don't have a ton of information on them.
Yeah.
I can't go as far to say Sean Marks deserves to be this far down, but I'm not high on him. I know we've talked about him a lot. The Nets are pretty bad. But I think that I just feel like this has to go to the Bulls. I don't know though, because it's like
Kings. I don't know, man. The Kings are.
So the Kings have a new GM, but we know Vivek is running the show in the same way that Ishbia is.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say because, yeah, I mean, at least the Bulls got Matas.
Like, yeah.
At least the Bulls got Matas. Like, what is the best move the Kings have made in the last
drafting Keegan Murray
3 years? That is your best move. I guess that's similar to the Matas move right now, but I think Matas is probably going to be better long term.
Yeah, he's got more upside. Yeah, I mean that was kind of the issue with Keegan. I remember
he was it's the 4th pick versus the 11th pick. You know, in a supposed bad draft, and look, the Kings. I think it's the Kings, just because I think you're right. Only due to the fact that everything they do is so completely nonsensical that it is like, to be fair, the Bulls do this too. Oh God, it's so close for me because I just think about like how shocked we were every time the Bulls make a trade and they don't get picks in addition to whoever they're trading, and how they wait and don't trade a guy when they possibly could.
Here's what I'll say. At least Josh Giddey was good. And like, here's the deal breaker: is the Bulls let DeMar walk, and the Kings signed him.
So bad.
So like,
they reassembled the Bulls.
Yeah, they reassembled
the Bulls with Sabonis and Fox, and then had to trade Fox because obviously that wasn't going to work. And now they're trying to acquire Russell Westbrook in addition to Dennis Schroeder and Jonathan Kuminga. With that team.
They're the word. They're the word. I mean, like it's like Kobe White, like at least is like a NBA player. Ayo Dosunmu is like an NBA player, and I guess the Kings did sign Monk or trade for Monk, whatever they did with Monk,
but that was because of Fox, who they just let walk. Or they traded. To be fair, I also would have traded Fox if I knew he was getting that much money.
Yeah.
I can't really fault them for that, but also I wouldn't have chose Fox over Halliburton in the first place.
Yes, that's the issue.
Everything always comes back to that. Because even the Bulls, like, disaster trades, like, the Vooch trade is pretty bad, obviously. But, like...
Wendell Carter Jr. is not going to haunt you the same way.
The Franz pick will haunt you, but the thing is, you still had to draft Franz. He wasn't on your team.
Yeah.
That's the difference to me.
You had Halliburton in the fucking building, like every day.
Yeah, that's the difference, is that you already had that player on your team. And the tough part for me, though, here is like parsing through this because, like, bro, the Bulls have gotten, under Karnisovas, have gotten rid of, so they've gotten rid of the Franz pick, which we've talked about ad nauseum. That's nonsensical. They've traded away Lowry and Zach LaVine, who both made all-star teams and got basically nothing back for them. They traded away Alex Caruso after the best year of his career for Josh Giddey. Man, it's tough. I'm going back and forth. I'm gonna say, goddamn, the Kings have won playoff games, though.
I mean,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It really. It's one playoff win in a worse conference versus 3 in a better conference, but it was literally a flash in the pan 1 year.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the Kings never had the bad luck of like Lonzo's knee exploding. Like, at least, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that at least was like bad luck, because I think that Lonzo signing would have been like fine if he didn't like have one of the worst injuries of all time. I think it's the Kings. So
we'll put the Kings last, we'll put the Bulls second to last.
Yes.
All right, let's sort out this bottom row here then. Let's just go.
Let's get our Jazz and our Suns in there, because I don't think we need to talk to, like,
we've talked about the Jazz and the Suns so much on this podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, look, so a few years ago when we ranked front offices, there were a few teams that I was like, I could see them taking steps up.
Mm-hmm.
The only team on this bottom row that I could see taking steps up is the Jazz.
Yes.
Like, everyone else is like, the Suns are like, they're done.
It's a disaster. It's apocalyptic. You had the official Suns account tweeting out Ishbia's highlights from high school.
No, from now.
Wait, that was from now?
Bro, he was literally hooping now. He's like 50 in that video, dude.
Are you serious? I thought it was his high school mixtape, dude. Oh
no,
my
dude,
God.
He's playing against fucking insurance salesmen. Hold on.
No fucking way, dude.
I'm going to their account right now.
He's so awesome, man. If that's true, that's fucking unreal. He's the GOAT. Like, goddamn, dude. We need more. I'm sorry, Dan Gilbert. I'm joining the war on Matt Ishbia, on the side of Matt Ishbia.
I mean, if this is him in high school, he looks like the oldest man to ever go to high school.
I mean, that could also be true. Maybe, where did he go to college? No, he went to Michigan State. There's no chance he was on the Michigan State.
This is recent, dude. This is all. He's like that guy from New Zealand who has the show where he plays all of the characters, and he's like in high school, but he's like 45 years old.
Yeah, Summer Heights High. Yeah. Yeah. He's Jermaine. Yeah. He's Jermaine and Mr. G, like both all at once. He's the GM. He's the owner. He's the star player. Dude, he's awesome. I feel so bad for Suns fans, dude. They were up 2-1 in the finals like 3 years ago.
Prior to Ishbia. That's why I'm putting them down here, because Ishbia, pretty much everything since he's taken over has been a disaster, and they're now trying to pivot their way out of it, and they're going to need
no pivots. You can't pivot.
Yeah,
they're like the old like idea of like, because they used to talk about like, is it good to be immortal? Because like, what happens if you like fall into a volcano and like just like, you know, and you're immortal and you're just fucking stuck in rock for like a billion years? Like, that's like what happened with the Suns. Is they're immortal, but they fell into the fucking lava.
They're just burning in the desert.
Yeah, they're just calcifying in the like the Earth's mantle somewhere. Like they're not getting out for millions of years. So Devin Booker extension, cool. Oh, like
yeah. I mean, come on, dude. Like,
it's tough. It's really fucking.
I mean, God, Malawatch better be good, dude, because otherwise this is gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean. We already know they're, once again, I put the Jazz highest here just because the Jazz at least like control most of their future draft capital. They have extra picks. They've bet against the Suns in 2030.
Yeah.
They have a few guys that could realistically like pop for them between Filipowski and Ace and Clayton and all those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any argument for it. I think these are the clear bottom four, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, the Jazz probably have the most hope to claw their way clear, but I think they're still pretty cleanly in F tier. We'll see how Ace looks. We'll see how our guy Walter Clayton looks. Like, you know,
yeah.
See if right now they don't have any above average players. I think Walker Kessler is a average player, and I think that Laurie Markkinen is average for the contract you paid him at
yeah.
So yeah, it's tough.
All right. So
I think the Raptors are our next one we have to talk about.
So you want to put them in D tier?
D or F? This is I feel strongly it's got to be one of those two.
Okay, so I liked, let's see, Raptors moves that I liked. This is going to be a hard one.
Way back.
Well, here's the thing.
Colin Murray Boyles was fine.
I love the Colin Murray Boyles pick.
That's fine.
Although, I mean, not specifically for them, but I like the player a lot.
Yeah.
Certainly don't know how that fits on this team. Scotty Barnes' pick was good. Do we know if we are able to give credit to Masai or Bobby Webster for these things, though? Because Bobby Webster is running the team now. And Bobby Webster...
I think he's a fraud.
It seems like it, to be completely honest with you. I don't think he necessarily knows what he's doing. I think he was the one behind the OG trade, which is pretty much a disaster. I don't know if he's the one behind the Siakam trade. I do know that there were articles coming out that he did not want to trade for Brandon Ingram, and Masai was behind that. But like,
what did they like give up? Here's the thing about the Brandon Ingram trade. Like, it compounded and it made things worse. They probably shouldn't have done it, but like,
Well, it's very funny because it seemed like they gave up nothing
Yeah.
at the time, but that Pacers pick actually somehow ended up becoming valuable.
Yeah, that is very funny.
That is just like, that's the opposite side of good luck. That is just, wow. Really, this team that just made the NBA Finals and then traded for their pick right before their best player's leg exploded.
Yeah.
And now they have their own pick back. That is a tough beat. Like, that is really tough to have done that trade from both the Pelicans' perspective and the Raptors having traded away Bruce Brown's expiring and Kelly Olynyk.
We just did the Masai Ujiri slop trial. I think the way I'm inclined to believe that Masai Ujiri, while he might be washed, he still did all of those other things. Bobby Webster was in the room for all the bad Raptors moves that we talked about over the last.
Well, he was around for the early stuff too, but like, I think that he's clearly had more power over the last few years.
Yes.
Which,
100%.
All right, let's put him in F.
I think they belong in F until proven otherwise. I think they are a slight bump above these other teams, but they're, it's not good. So,
yeah. All right. Love the Colin Murray Boyles pick though. And Scotty Barnes was a good pick.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes was a good pick.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Milwaukee Bucks.
Please do not mail me a pipe bomb. So you had the Bucks in D tier.
I think we put the Bucks in D tier. That's my suggestion.
Last time I doubted you on the Bucks. Do you remember this? I was like, they won the championship. How can they? And you were like, they suck. I mean, they are the worst drafting team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's only them or the Clippers. And the Clippers drafted Shea, even though they traded him away.
This front office has been riding off the coattails of a better front office that is gone.
The one that drafted Giannis?
The one that drafted Giannis and traded for Chris Middleton. They didn't trade for Chris. This worst front office did not trade for Chris Middleton, right?
Correct. No, they came in 2017.
So they traded for Drew. Which
their best moves are the Drew trade and the Brook Lopez signing.
Oh, the Brook Lopez signing is really good. That's a really good move.
MLE deal. Well, that's Horse best attribute is getting like solid players for next to nothing.
Yeah.
That's like been his like kind of superpower to keep like he's using like tape on like a boat for all the leaks. Like he's just like, we'll keep it together for one more year, Giannis. Don't worry about it. We got Gary Trent Jr. for $4 million and Cole Anthony on a vet minimum.
Here's the analogy is what he does is he's got this boat that's sinking. And what he keeps fucking doing is throwing the patching like kit overboard to get to the tape. Like with the draft picks, like that's how you patch the fucking boat. And he keeps throwing it out. Yeah, we're going to take Marjan Beauchamp. Let's get Jordan Nwora in the mix. Let's, I don't know.
The AJ Johnson pick is still we were baffled by it on draft night.
And that's probably his best pick. And then he traded it away.
AJ Johnson stinks. I love the highs of AJ Johnson, but he's a bad basketball player. And also they traded, like you said, what was the point of it when you had to do it to salary dump the Middleton thing? We're not going to revisit the Kuzma Middleton trade, but oh my God, it's bad.
It's bad.
And then he's a Giannis merchant, dude. Like I don't think there's any argument for him being anything above.
They won the title. That keeps you out of D tier, but like, I don't think
F tier.
Or sorry, keeps you out of F tier, but so you end up in D tier. Like, I mean, you've kind of squandered one of the best players in the history of the NBA. Like a little.
They haven't won a playoff series since the title, right? No, they won one the next year.
Yeah,
they won one, and then they just started getting injured, and the Dame trade was a mess. And backfired. Yeah, we don't have to revisit all that. I agree. He should be in D tier.
Brooklyn Nets.
Yep, I also had them in D tier. I had the Bucks in C tier because I'm just holding on to the championship, but I agree that they should be very, very low.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, I mean the Nets. We just laughed our asses off of their draft. The longest running front office for no reason. Like, what reason should he be the GM still? What other team would still have him as their GM? The worst run teams in the NBA?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I don't think. I mean, look, they were like, they did assemble like this great. Everyone knows my opinion on the Nets. I do think that like they had unprecedented bad luck to have that team fall apart the way that it did. I think that drafting Jared Allen, getting Karis LeVert, I really respect the pervert moves to like rebuild from the Celtics.
I don't care. I don't give
okay, well, and here's the thing is if we're going to be hard on Masai Ujiri for being good 5 years ago, but it doesn't matter. We've got to give Sean Marks the same treatment, and he's been fucking bad. Like this draft was a disaster.
And also, like you talked about earlier, sometimes you make bad moves. How do you pivot out of it?
Yeah.
The James Harden for Ben Simmons trade just made it so that they couldn't pivot out of anything when they still had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on their team.
Yeah, that's
like,
that's really bad. Yeah,
you literally could have traded James Harden for an expiring contract and done better. Like that's where the whole like his reputation just completely sinks to me when it's like, great job getting those guys in the first place, but you completely squandered it. Yeah. And you can debate whether it was Kevin Durant who made certain moves or Sean Marks, but ultimately he's the one who still has the job. And I think that he should very clearly, I'm putting the Bucks above them because I think the Bucks, I'm putting the Bucks above them just because the Bucks won the championship.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair for sure.
Yeah. All right. So, any other front offices you want to put in D tier?
I think the Charlotte Hornets still have to go here. And again, they kind of like the Jazz, they might rise their way out of this, but
the saloon pick is the one that's like, if they had not made that, I could make an argument for them in C or B.
Yeah.
Because I actually think the other things that they've done have been like totally fine. But that was an instantly bad pick. And there are plenty of good players from that, not franchise changing players, but like good players you could have drafted instead. You chose not to. And honestly, the one thing I wanted to give them credit for was not even them. When they traded, when they did the PJ Washington trade and the Terry Rozier trade and all, they apparently ownership hired an outside they consulted with an outside group to make those trades.
That's crazy.
With Mitch Kupchak. That's what a Hornets fan told me. And I remember reading that back at that deadline, but I completely forgot that happened. And then they hired Jeff Peterson. I like the con pick. I like their draft overall. Kalkbrenner, Sion James.
Yeah.
I didn't love the Liam McNeely pick, but it's the end of the first. Who cares? Like it's fine. And I thought they had a good offseason, but I still think that you're right. They probably have to be down here.
Maybe we look up at this. I mean, I think the Miles Bridges thing is complete malpractice. Like
horrible. That was them. Yeah. And then also they didn't draft Brandon Miller. So like, or LaMelo Ball. Like I'm not giving him credit for inheriting two players who are good. Like,
and let's be honest. Like the LaMelo Ball thing, like, you might have missed your window here. Like,
I don't think LaMelo ever had trade value. I can't hold that against this new guy.
We'll see. I don't.
He played more games this year than he did the year when he inherited LaMelo.
Yeah, sure, but I'm just saying. Like,
I don't think anyone was touching LaMelo's contract until he played like 60 games.
I'd sniff my way around that, I guess, if I was saying them.
All right, hold on. Let's see. He played 22 games the year when Peterson took the job. Like, there's no way anyone in the NBA was taking that contract. And he played 47 this year, which is good for him.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but still, I'm not giving him credit for anything. I'm just saying I think that he should be. Where do you think in between the Nets and where do you think in here?
Yeah, in between the Nets and the Bucks, I think. Okay. I mean, again, the Bucks won the title. You know, like I think D is as low as we can have a
team who won the title. Yeah. Even if they inherited the two best players.
Right.
Okay. So, all right, let's go to. You're not gonna like one of the ones I had in my D tier.
I was just gonna ask if you were gonna do that.
The Wizards are not a good front office, dude.
We don't know yet. I think it's too early to tell.
I know they don't have good players, and they have made some nice margin moves. I don't disagree with that. You have to have good players for me to give a shit. And they're going into year 3 of a rebuild with no good players.
Okay, and they were bad both the years. They just got bad lottery luck. I don't like what were they supposed to do? I get yes, you could have not drafted Alex Sarr. I think is probably the worst of their moves. Like if you take Klingon or someone like that, I think it's
once
probably
again, this is probably if you want to make the argument in behalf of the Wizards, it's very similar to what I did with the Rockets 2 years ago. Yes. Even though the Rockets had better prospects, and I put them in the D tier, and I said I think that they could be higher when we do this in a few years because I like
Amen at that point. But
that's the thing is that they had Amen and Şengün. Like Şengün was very clearly a good player. And I was literally making the argument on that podcast, like this guy could be an all-star. Like
I feel that way about Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson's the only one on that team that I think has potential to make an all-star team.
I also think Bilal Coulibaly, given positional,
no way
is. He's not going to be. Look, I'm not saying he's going to be fucking.
Don't get me wrong. I fell for the Bilal thing over and over, but like you have to be good for a full season at some point. I know he's only been in the league 2 years, but like he was the 7th pick in the draft. Like they.
I don't know. I think you're still being like a little bit unfair to a team that just like
I'm pushing back against the nerds loving them so much. I just don't get it. Like. Do literally anything before I give you credit. Like,
I think it's fine to have them in D tier, but I would bet on them. I would flag them much like because I remember pushing back. I remember this 2 years ago. I was a lot harder on the Rockets than you were.
Yeah.
And we were having this exact same argument where I was kind of going after the Rockets the way you're going after the Wizards right now.
I'm fine putting the Wizards in C tier because I don't think they've done anything wrong and they have $100 million in cap space next offseason.
Yeah.
But I just would like to see them do something. Like
don't
put the worst team in the NBA out on the court every single year. Like that's a very low bar to clear.
Okay, but here's the thing. We just talked about how the Spurs were wise for knowing when to draft for Wemby. Like, I think if this front office were in charge of the Wizards when Wemby were,
that was the previous front office that fucked.
Yeah, I they were in the mix for Cooper Flag. They had the worst record in the NBA this year for Cooper Flag. Like, I don't know.
Fair, they should tank again next year. I'm just saying you're going into year 3 of this front office. The Beal trade is their best move, I think.
Right. And they inherited like nothing again to kind of some of the credit for like
definitely
the Knicks thing. They inherited nothing. They got off of Kuzma. I don't know. I don't think there's I understand what you're saying that there's no proof of concept and it's kind of like where the Jazz were where it's like show me your surefire thing and they don't really have that yet.
Yeah,
but
that's I feel they're closer to the Jazz than they are to the Rockets from 2 years ago.
And that's fair. I also think that like they don't have like a Lauri Markkanen style guy who's like gonna like pay money. You know what I'm saying? They're still pretty like.
Well, I was saying 2 years ago, trade Lauri Markkanen, and they didn't listen to me, and that's why they're in F.
All right.
So
I if you wanted to put them in D tier, I wouldn't fight you too hard on it. But I pretty strongly believe I still think they have real chance to move up next time we do this exercise. So
all right. So do we want to put the Pelicans? Do we want to put the Pelicans in D tier? Because
I was thinking about it. I think that's where I landed. I had them on the fence. C and D.
Once again, bad luck. I'm not holding the Pacers thing against them. That's just crazy bad luck. Although, if the Pacers are calling you, being like, "Hey, you want to make this trade," and for you not to be like, "Why are they calling us?" when he has the same exact injury that Kevin Durant had right before he tore his Achilles. Like, now look, the odds of that happening were still not like incredibly high, but it was a possibility. And then he did it, and now that pick might have a ton more value. I mean, once again, bad luck.
This draft is one of the biggest disaster classes we've ever seen, and the fact that it was this front office's like only day on the job is pretty bad.
This team is also extremely Kings coded. It just does not make sense. They have more talent, but it just doesn't make sense. It's all guys who want to take a bunch of shots. Zion and Queen make no sense together. Fears, DeJounte, and Jordan Poole make no sense together. Once again, the highlight of Troy Weaver's career is always acquiring talent and giving up way too much to get it, like he just did with the Derek Queen move, And then also on top of that, not understanding how to build a fucking roster. Yeah. Like, he's fine at starting a rebuild. Dude is horrible at getting anything past that. So I'll put them in D. I'll put them towards the high end of D.
He's
just because we don't have much evidence.
Yeah, he's literally the personified id of like draft Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like if Presti is the super ego, Troy Weaver is the id. Like 100% of like draft Twitter. Like fucking devil on the shoulder. Like,
what player that is currently in the NBA that was like a darling a few years ago in the draft is he going to trade for?
Devin Vassell would be one that
Vassell's an interesting one.
Yeah, I could see him trading for
Scoot.
Scoot is definitely possible. Taylor Hendricks, signing him off of when he gets cut. Like,
oh my God. Jesus Christ. We haven't had a lot of bigs that go high in the draft that suck recently.
Yeah.
Which is why I was going to say, because that's his thing. I mean, Bagley, Wiseman, those are the kind of guys that he tends to target.
Yeah.
But he just got Queen, and they already have Zion.
He'll bring Jahlil Okafor back out again.
Who is their starting five?
Herb and Trey, obviously. And
God, it's Kayvon Looney. They're going to be bad, dude. They have to be bad.
I won't be. I've Lucied with the football with them too many times. I'm going the under until they make me. Spoiler alert for this year. I'm going unless it's like 23. I'm hitting the under every year until they.
No, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I think
I have one more team in this tier.
I was gonna say, can I
say it?
Is it the Philadelphia 76ers?
I had them in C still.
Okay.
Just because of the draft, but you could make the argument for D. They signed two worst contracts in the NBA.
I don't feel that strongly about them in D. The other one I had that I was thinking about for this team is the Miami Heat.
The other team I was thinking in this tier is the Dallas Mavericks. They traded away Luca, dude.
It's true.
I just think that is so much worse than anything any team has done here.
It's definitely the worst. Besides,
we talked about it before. It made every move they made before the Luka trade worse too, because now they're gonna have to pay PJ Washington, and they already paid Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively's not gonna be as good, and they got lucky with the Cooper Flag thing, and there were moves he made that I liked before it when you were building a team around Luka, and now their team makes no sense.
Yeah.
I'm putting them in D.
Yeah, I put them in D.
They did make the finals, though, so I'll put them a little bit higher, even though they traded away their best player who made the fucking finals.
I know.
Kyrie trade was good, but I don't care.
That whole because do you remember what was that? The 2023 offseason? I was like, they're cooked, they're fucked. This is the Luka Trader plus speed run. Like, and then they had like one of the great off seasons of all time. Like they had one of the best calendar years of transaction.
It wasn't the off season. They were actually kind of bad in the off season. It was the deadline before that when they traded for Kyrie. Hold on. That was a great move. And then the move that they made later was getting Gafford and PJ Washington at the deadline. The only great move they made that offseason was Derek Jones Jr. on a vet minimum.
And to Rashawn Holmes to get the Derek Lively pick is pretty good.
Yeah, but they would have gotten him either way. They had the 12th pick and they moved it to the 10th pick.
Are we sure? I don't know. I think that's...
No, I'm pretty sure they would have gotten him. I don't think the Magic had any interest in him. They drafted Jet Howard.
That is true.
That was who they were, but like the Thunder wouldn't have done that trade if they wanted Lively.
Yeah.
I think they would have got Lively either way. Now, the Lively pick was great in the draft, to be clear. But
I think the Mavericks should be on the higher end of the D tier if we're going to put them here, though.
I put them at the high end. Oh, or is this the low end? How are we doing it?
We have the Bucks. We have the Bucks on the end. Yeah.
All right. So since the Bucks won the title, I'll still respect them, and I'll put them at the Mavericks, just one spot below them, one spot ahead of the Hornets.
I do think that New Orleans has at least made the playoffs and like won a playoff series. I do think we should kind of put.
But that's not this front office. This new front office is new.
I forgot that's true. Yeah. You're right.
This is not. I'm not giving them credit for. I'm still putting them low because we just have lower. We have less information with them. But I know it's a bad start. Like all the information we have is negative information. So, all right. So Sixers, I'll put the Sixers in the C tier.
Yeah.
where do we want to put them amongst the Spurs and the Wizards?
They're hard, man. They're
hard because like the Joel Embiid thing, I was like, okay at the time. And like, I hated the cap space plan, and Paul George it's turned out about as bad as it possibly could. But Paul George was a very, very good player, but also there was always this risk attached to it. And both of those contracts have gone about as bad as they possibly could. And you do have to hold that against them. And they fucking pussyfooted around for Joel's last few years, and they were cute, and they didn't make good margin moves. And the only thing that they've done well is draft. The VJ, McCain, and Maxey are like their saving grace, which is why I don't put them in D. Particularly Maxey and McCain, given the draft position that they had. Particularly those two. I think the successes of those outweigh pretty much anything. Because I think Joel getting hurt is kind of a nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it worse than signing? Are those outweighed? I think those are better for your team than Paul George, than the mistake of the Paul George contract. And I think everything else has been kind of marginal, to be totally honest. The Ben Simmons for Harden trade was still great for the Sixers. Yeah. Like the big picture stuff has been mostly fine. It's been the little things that Morey has just been kind of lazy on, to be honest with you. Yeah. And like now the big picture stuff is starting to regress with Joel and Paul George. I mean, in a year from now, look, man, like I think that Morey probably won't have a job. So like, I don't know if you could make the argument that they could be in D. Like I really would not push back against that. Here's the other thing though. If by some miracle Paul George has a bounce back year and like, out of nowhere, he's already injured. But you know what I mean? Like there is a world where like the Sixers are like the 2 seed. It's not likely, but there's a world where they're like the 4 seed. I can't get up to 2 seed, even in this East. I can't. Heat. I still think the Heat. I still had the Heat in the C tier. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah. Because my thing with the Heat is like they're kind of similar to the Sixers. They blew the big picture stuff. I'm sorry, they blew the window with Jimmy. Yeah. But they're really good at drafting. I also though the Jimmy window is kind of just like coaching. Invented. That was not a little bit, but that like the maximum. There's no scenario where the Miami Heat win a title without like catastrophic injuries. I don't disagree, but they made the finals twice. Like they did. I'm just saying, like that is like one of the most outlandish things that's ever happened. Particularly the 2023 one. Like that is like the 2023 one is like genuinely an act of God. My thing with them is they always come away with like one of the 2 or 3 best players on the board of the draft every year where they draft. That's true. Like what's their draft miss in the first round? They haven't had one since Winslow. There's got to be one. KZ Okpala was a 2nd round pick. Okay. Tyler Hero's a hit. Bam Adebayo's a hit. Yep, that's a great pick. Jaime Jaquez, considering the other players on the board, is a hit. Yeah, Jovic, considering the players. We'll see with Yakichonis, but like he could also be a hit. Yeah, I guess that's true. They're so bad at everything else, though. They're really bad at 2 things. The 2 things they're really bad at are they're very similar to the Sixers in that they get cute with their guys. Yep. They love to be like, we could never trade Gabe Vincent or Max Strus, and then they lose them for nothing when a smart front office would be like, let's trade Caleb Martin with a year left on his deal and get like a real, like legit player back for him or draft picks back for him. Instead, they wait until all these guys have nothing left of value. And they go, oh, well, we lost them in free agency. What can you do? You could have fucking traded them because everyone knows they're fucking fake. Or other teams don't know they're fucking fake except for you. That is where they really fuck up. Is that they have players that have value and they never get anything for them. And I thought it was really eye-opening the bridge years in between the LeBron teams and the Jimmy Butler teams, like how disastrous they were with contract. Awarding. They still are not great. I mean, the Duncan Robinson one was up and down, but like the Terry Rozier trade's a mess. Yeah. Like I just think that they have consistently. Once again, I'm a little bit more of a believer that like if they had made the right moves, they could have won a title. just because they got to the finals twice. I know they only won 3 games in those 2 finals, but like I'm just a believer that like if you have Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and like real players around them and not like Mickey Mouse guys that you fucking molded because Spo's the GOAT, like I do think they could have had a chance. So I'll put them towards the top of the C tier just because they are really good at drafting. But you are right that they are bad at pretty much everything else.
I think looking at the rest of the teams left, 2 teams jump out as definitely belonging in the C tier. I'm going to say the Portland Trailblazers should be in this.
Yes,
we maybe should even give them kind of D tier consideration. Maybe
I think they've done really good the last few years. Like the Jeremy Grant contract is horrible. But
Ayton is a bad.
Ayton's fine. They traded Nurkic for Ayton.
Yeah, but
they got Tumani Kamara in the same trade. Tumani was a great pickup. The Denny trade was great for them. They hit on Klingon. We'll see with Young Hansen if that complicates things a little bit.
I love Young. I think that's a hit. We both like
Shaden
Sharp. Scoot obviously is probably the worst it gets, but
I think everyone would have taken him. I mean, I had him even though I had Amen third on my board at that draft, I had Scoot too. So like I can't even really I loved Amen, but I even think that I would be surprised if any front office didn't take Scoot there, considering
it's so funny. I'm so Scoot pilled that I think that's where a lot of my Dylan Harper skepticism comes from, by the way. Is because I just I'm so I'm so reactionary to and this guy's the consensus number 2, this guard. And it's
yeah, well, Harper's 6'5". I mean, Scoot is 6'2". If Scoot wasn't an elite athlete who could shoot, it was always going to be tough for him. And both of those things have not panned out in the NBA in the way that we thought they would have.
Yeah, but is Dylan Harper a good shooter?
No, I'm skeptical of him too. I'm not saying not, but I'm saying that I think that a 6'5" guard has more margin for error than a 6'2" guard. That's just my general thought on that. So
they could move up or down, and probably have an upwards trajectory. That Jeremy Grant trade is so bad.
I think they're the Rockets of 2 years ago.
That's true. That's totally possible as well. Yeah.
I think they're the team that we're oh man, maybe we should have had them higher just because they have so many guys that could take leaps. Because the Rockets a few years ago, keep in mind when we did this, they had Amen Thompson, Şengün, Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason. We were some of these guys are going to be better. We were just some of these guys are going to make massive leaps. And right now you could be Young Hansen, Donovan Klingon, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharp.
Denny kind of make the case for Denny.
You could make the argument that all of these guys
can even make a case for a small leap for him. No, it's you're right. The more I think about this, definitely.
To me, that they should be in here. And to me, the way that, and I know that they haven't made a lot of great moves. The Wizards have made less bad moves than they've done things correctly. But the way that people talk about the Wizards is they have the Blazers' young talent, and they don't. That's my whole thing. They're also an extra year into the rebuild, so maybe I'll feel differently a year from now about the Wizards. So I agree that they should be in this C tier. I had them towards the bottom. I think that's about right. I mean, I think they've done better than the Wizards.
You can put them ahead of the Wizards if you want. I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, I'll switch the Sixers and the Wizards and the Blazers.
I think the Spurs should be at the back of this tier.
All right, I'll give you that.
I have 2 other. I actually have 1 other tier. I said 2, but now I really have 2.
Okay,
I'm going to submit for your consideration. They had a good offseason, but I do think the Atlanta Hawks need to be here for the time being.
So this is a new front office, and I think they've done great. I'm willing to put them in B tier just on the strength of this offseason.
I don't have a problem with it. I guess that's true that they weren't responsible for the DeJounte. They don't get the sins. Okay. We can put them in B tier. The other one I have.
Think about this is all we have to judge them off of. They've got Porzingis.
Yeah.
They got Porzingis, Asamoah, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard, and the better of the Pelicans and Bucks first round pick next year, this offseason.
Yeah, great.
Really good. Like
great season of work. Yeah, like it's.
I think if I'm putting them in B just off the strength of this offseason, but like this guy's off to an amazing start.
Yeah, I guess that's true if we're just doing this like last little bit. That's fine.
Because they fired Landry Fields and they brought in
who, by the way, I think would have probably still been in B tier, to be totally
I probably
honest.
would have put him in C tier, but yeah.
He pivoted out of the DeJounte trade.
Sure. Yeah. It wasn't really his fault in the first place, but but they've done.
I was really impressed with that. I just The only other one I was considering for C tier, and I could hear the argument for putting them in B tier on similar thing because it's kind of a newer front office. The Pistons was the other one I was considering.
I had the Pistons in B tier, but I could hear C tier.
I don't feel strongly about that. I could have them in either.
So I had them in B tier, but also like they haven't really done anything.
Yeah.
It's just been like they weren't Troy Weaver, and that is like the easiest thing to do. Like they brought in Malik Beasley, which worked out for a year, and then he decided to ruin his life. What else have they done really?
They
like
brought in Tobias, who was like
sure, he was good for them.
Did they extend Beef Stew, or was that done before they got there?
That was done before they got there. They got Holland in the draft, who I really liked, and I thought that was a good pick for them.
Sure.
And then they haven't really done much else. Like this offseason, they got Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert. Like that's fine, sure.
They traded for Dennis Schroeder, right?
Yeah, the Schroeder trade.
Yeah. Wasn't there someone else they
Look,
added?
They made the Pistons, who hadn't made the playoffs or won a playoff game since 2008, into like a legit playoff team.
They were competitive with the Knicks, really competitive with the Knicks, who went to the conference finals. So
I could hear B. I mean, I literally just had them in B.
We should put them B. They really haven't done it.
I just haven't felt strong about anything they've done. Like
let's put them at the front of C tier.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Let's put them at the front of C tier. They're knocking on the door of B tier if they are good again. You know, who did they draft anyone? They didn't have their pick this year.
Just Holland. That was the only move they've made so far where they drafted.
They didn't draft anybody this year, right?
Chaz Lanier, unless you're a big Chaz Lanier guy.
I am not.
Okay. So yeah, once again, I could go B or C tier there. I'm not fussed either way. So, I mean, it's once again great start for who's their GM again? The guy from the Pelicans.
Trajan Langdon.
Trajan Langdon. Yeah. Yes. Let's put him at the end of B. Let's be nice.
End of B.
I'll put end of B.
Okay.
I mean, look, they took the Pistons to the playoffs and won a game. Like now, the core was already in place, but they were the worst team of all time the year before.
Yeah,
they were literally one of the worst teams in NBA history.
It's true. It's facts.
So I will give them credit for that.
Next worst team on the board, I think, is the Memphis Grizzlies.
So you have them in B or C?
Yes.
I had them in B.
Dude, I literally had three teams on the line. I wrote the Grizzlies, the Warriors, and the Pistons all on the BC line, and I didn't. I was like, I'll hear arguments either way for all of those teams. So
Grizzlies really good at drafting.
Yeah.
I kind of really like their offseason outside of the Bane step back, but like they kind of had to do that because Ja is not Ja. Yeah. I like the Edey pick recently. They didn't draft JJJ, or they might have been around, but whatever. Like the JJJ pick was obviously great.
Jalen Wells was a great pick.
Jalen Wells was really great. They always get those fringe guys.
Yeah.
They always can figure out, can they get high level players? Now, I think Santi's really good and can be a starter. I think that he was the 30th pick in the draft. They take a lot of those swings, but when they hit, they make them count. Or shouldn't say that. Their misses, they move on very quickly, is what I think that they do well. They're like, all right, this guy's not a guy. Let's get rid of him. Let's try again next year. And they usually can find a replacement for that player. They better hope Cedric Howard's really good, because they put in a lot, or the Suns are terrible next year, which feels like a pretty good bet.
The Smart trade was just such a fucking disaster.
The Smart trade was really bad, and they had to overpay to get off of Smart.
Yeah.
And then they collapsed down the stretch of last season. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
I mean, I think if the Smart trade doesn't happen, they're an easy A tier.
By the way, I don't know if we talked about this at the Grade of the Offseason episode. I think one of the low-key best pickups of the offseason that no one is talking about is that Ty Jerome contract.
Yeah, that's great.
Ty Jerome was incredible in the regular season last year. He was like the best backup point guard in the NBA, and not in like a Tyus Jones, like
Mickey Mouse way.
Mouse way. Like he was like legitimately one of the best pull-up shooters in the NBA. And I saw a stat earlier that blew my mind. Dude, I think someone said that he led the NBA in the combination of pull-up shooting and drives per 100 last year. Wow. That's like crazy for a guy who's 27 and breaking out. Like, that's kind of wild. So I would say he is, here's the stat. He had 20 drives per almost 20 drives per 100 and shot 44% from three.
That's crazy.
The only person even close to him in the quadrant is like, there's no one, dude. It's literally like you have to go lower to get like Anthony Edwards, Kyrie Irving, Tyrese Halliburton. He might be really fucking good. Like, I know that he struggled in the playoffs, but like that was a great pickup for them. I can't believe he went for so little, dude.
I still feel like they're B.
I'll give them a little bit of a legacy bump, but
yeah,
I think they're trending downwards.
Maybe we'll see. I think
We'll see if they can pivot out of it.
We'll see what this season's kind of make or break for
the Ja thing is so like, what can you even do?
Yeah, it's tough.
The John Zion thing like kind of just puts you in handcuffs as a front office. Same with LaMelo a little bit too.
And it's a bummer because they've done so well at pretty much everything else, but it just shows you how it can get if
when your best player is
Yeah.
And they've done pretty good considering how much time he's missed. Like they had their one disaster season and then they at least made the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Warriors. Jimmy Butler trade. Excellent.
Great trade. Pods pick was good because that's when they took over the Pods pick draft. So that was 2023. Yeah. Moses Moody's contract extension was fine. The Jonathan Kuminga thing seems like it's coming more from ownership. Melton was a good pickup until his body fell apart. Seems like they're getting Horford on a vet min or maybe a little bit more than that. That seems like it would be a good pickup for them, even though they'll be old as fuck. Who else? They had Buddy Hield had a run for them for like a $7-8 million player.
The Schroeder thing was not their best work.
No, that trade was. But they instantly were like, all right, this didn't work. Let's go get Jimmy Butler. Like they've been aggressive this last year. And like before that, what's their best move? The best move is the Jimmy Butler trade, obviously.
Yeah. I think the Pods pick was really good.
Pods pick was good for where he went.
Pretty late. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put them in B.
Yeah, I keep forgetting they're kind of a newer front office too. They're paying
2023, till now.
Myers, yeah.
So the end of the Bob Myers tenure was really the thing that they've been slowly recovering from.
I think both the Grizzlies and Warriors should be ahead of the Pistons.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so okay.
I think our next team we have to talk about is the Denver Nuggets because it's such a small, it's such a short runway, but they've done excellent. Similar to the Hawks. Yeah.
Except they have Jokic, so it's like this
so
much more meaningful to do what they did and go get Cam Johnson. So they got Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
They signed Tim Hardaway Jr. and they got Jonas Valanciunas. A little bit of we know who they are merchants, but better than the bench players they've had, I guess.
Definitely better than
the bench players. I mean, the bench players they've had are like some of the worst players in the NBA.
Yeah.
They didn't draft anyone, if I remember correctly. A really good offseason. I'd be willing to put them, I'd put them towards the end of B. I think.
Yeah. Or you mean like towards A or? Yeah.
No. I meant I meant towards the end of B. I guess we have the Hawks pretty high.
I would put them right next to the Hawks. I feel pretty identical about those two.
Okay. All right. We'll put them in there.
I think they've done great. We only have a small window, and I think they're the title favorites, in my opinion. But I mean, I know the Thunder, but like, I don't know.
We'll see what the Christian Brown extension looks like. That will be interesting.
Yeah,
because that's going to be their first real test. I like Christian Brown a lot, though. Like, I think that he's kind of become a little bit underrated.
I have one more team I feel strongly is B with no case for A.
Hold on, let me look at my list. Is it Clippers?
It is the Clippers.
Yep, I had the Clippers in B too. Yep. The worst drafting front office, but good at everything else.
and a lot of their bad drafting is just because they're never bad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but they also just burn their picks. Like. They literally are like Rob Flom every year, who follows the Clippers. He covers them. He religiously follows the draft. Every year he's like, the Clippers made the worst pick at the end of the first round again. Like, they never make a good pick. It's not like they took Kobe Brown and I was like, Kobe Brown is 24 as a rookie. If he's not good, he's bad. And then they traded for like Daniel Otoro a few years ago. He was instantly bad. They never hit on these picks.
They did draft Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
I understand. They also drafted Jerome Robinson a few picks later. I'm just saying that like they have one good pick. They have two good picks, that and Terrence Mann, and then they ended up extending Terrence Mann, which they probably shouldn't have. They had to get off of that contract, but they got it off of it pretty easily. But like their strength is they nail the free agent market every single year. Yeah. They were smart enough to not pay Paul George when we all thought they should have.
Yeah.
And they've turned that into like a deep, good team around Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. And you have to do that when you have Kawhi Leonard. The Zubac trade is one of the best trades of the last handful of years.
How long is this front office's tenure? Aren't they? Like,
he's been there for a while. 2016 or 2017, I think.
I was gonna say, was this
Jerry West worked with them at one point, but because he was partially behind the Muscala for Zubac trade, because he literally laughed at Magic Johnson when he called him. He didn't think it was real.
That's very funny. Was the Blake Griffin trade part of it or not?
Yeah, they did the Blake Griffin trade. Yeah. They also did the Paul George trade, but like that's why I can't have them in A, is just because they're so bad at drafting. And then we just did that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all the picks trade. Even though we understand what I'm not revisiting it. I'm just saying they can't be an A when they have such a bad drafting record and also that. But they've been consistently pretty good. They made the conference finals. They it's been disappointing because you thought they could win a championship, but like they've had one losing season in the last decade, I think they said.
Yeah.
Or the most consecutive winning seasons of any team in the NBA, if I remember correctly. I think the year they missed the playoffs with the Jalen Williams pick year, I think they still had a winning record because the West was really deep.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Yeah. So yeah, the Clippers in there. So we have 5 teams left. We have the Rockets, the Timberwolves, the Cavs, the Magic, and the Pacers. I think the Cavs should be an A.
I agree. Yeah.
I think I'll put them 4 just behind the Knicks. I mean, we talked
sneaky long tenured front office. Kobe Altman's been there since 2017, I think.
There has been no GM or front office guy who has improved their rep in my mind more than Kobe Altman over the last few years. Yeah. Because at first I was like, this guy sucks at his job. Like I was like, the Kyrie Irving trade was a disaster for them. The Kevin Love extension was a disaster for them. It seemed like he missed on both Sexton and Garland at the beginning of their career, and then completely flipped the switch in 2020. Was like Jared Allen, a year later got Mobley, Garland took a leap. They traded for Lauri Markkanen, which turned into Donovan Mitchell, and they've made some nice margin moves. The Strus move was a low risk, good move. The Ty Jerome pickup was great. DeAndre Hunter, I liked it at the time. It hasn't really worked out for them. It was a fine trade to make. They were they were going to lose both of those guys anyway.
They found, like you said, they found Ty Jerome, the accountant, Dean Wade is like a fine, some of these margin.
I like Jalen Tyson for them. He was like the 22nd pick, I think, in the draft. We'll see if he works out, but like, I like that pick at the time.
They've done a lot with, they've just been good, like really good. I thought when they traded for Donovan Mitchell, I thought that they were getting themselves in trouble, like, because I thought he was going to walk in a couple of years. And I kind of viewed it similar to how I talked about the De'Aaron Fox trade, where it's like, this is kind of early to start making this kind of move, like in your timeline, but they were right. They were right to do that. And I mean, the playoff success hasn't been there yet, but I think
they'll make the conference finals next year, probably. Yeah. We'll see when we actually make our official predictions, but like, they've been to the second round twice. If they don't make the conference finals this year, it's starting to be like
it's a disaster. Yeah,
they got to do something.
Yeah.
But no, they pretty much have made only decent to good moves in the last like 4 or 5 years. Yeah. The one move I did not understand at all was paying Sam Merrill and letting Ty Jerome walk. I disagree with that, even if Ty Jerome is redundant and was terrible in the playoffs. But all right, let's look at the teams we have. The team that made one massive error and kind of similar to the Knicks rebounded from it with the RJ Barrett and Jalen Green things, which benefited the Cavs because the Cavs got Evan Mobley there, was the Rockets. And I said 2 years ago when we did this that I would have had I said, I think the Rockets have the most upward mobility of any front office we view as bad right now. And that we put them in D, and they proved that because a bunch of their guys have hit. The Fred VanVleet thing ended up working out. They traded for Kevin Durant. They have one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the West now. And
real quick, this was the team of these teams that are left that I considered putting in the S tier the most.
So I still think they should be A.
I agree, but I think all of these teams left are A. But
what's like their shining move? I guess Şengün pick.
I think trading Jalen Green for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, actually. Dillon Brooks and Jalen Green for Kevin Durant's pretty good. Even though Kevin Durant's very old and they had to give up the 10
I get it, but like that was why you make a move like that. I think Amen Thompson is
Amen was the no-brainer pick at 4. Like I once again, you do it, you take the pick, but like there wasn't really much of a debate who was going 4.
Yeah.
Because Asar was the 5th pick, and like he's better than Asar.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think they were the closest I got to S. I do think you probably need to win a title with your team to be an S tier.
Okay, so you want to put them at the front of A tier then? You think they're the third best front office in the NBA?
What have they done wrong?
I mean, they pivoted out of the Jalen Green. The Jalen Green over Mobley thing is still really bad to me, even though I know that we know what we know now, and they pivoted out of it.
Yeah, I guess.
To me, I don't see like. That's such a bad pick, dude. Like everyone knew Mobley was better, dude. It's not quite Luca level, but it's like a step below that.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, we can put him in. We can put him in the back. But they basically gotten every other. I was like a lot lower on the Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet signings when they did them, and that's been great. Those have been like pretty much like perfect outcomes for that. I'm owned. I was really low on this Rockets front office, and they've been incredible kind of since that time.
Yeah.
So.
No, they've definitely been like top 5 or 6 for sure.
Rob, I owe you an apology.
All right. What do we do with the Wolves? Because
I think A.
I definitely think they should be an A, but where in A? Because I look at them and I go, Gobert trade worked out massively for them so far. And the downside is not. What's that?
That's insane. It's one of the more insane worked out.
This
is run me my check, dude. He's the raise my fucking rent GM, dude.
This is almost like an aura pick where it's like to pull out your dick like that and be like, we're trading all of this shit for Rudy Gobert and we're gonna make the conference finals.
Yep.
And did they make the conference finals twice? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. They've never made back-to-back conference finals.
Yeah.
So the Conley trade was great for them. The Mike Conley trade was great for them. And they also got Nickeil Alexander-Walker in that trade. Which at the time I was like, he was pretty good this year. Why are they just throwing him in? Like, I felt like Bill. He threw him in like a pair of car keys. Which I don't know what is that. What are you throwing car keys into?
Car keys are pretty valuable.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah. What is that
analogy?
That's like a defining thing. That's like how you show someone is like really having a hard time at poker. Is they throw their car keys in there. So it's not.
Yeah, you're desperate in that scenario.
Yeah, it's a desperation thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, I look at this team and I see the Wolves as a. That analogy just makes no sense.
Bill.
He threw him in like a pair of car keys. What are you talking about? We
gotta go. We haven't done Bill content in a while.
No, we're doing it. We'll do the over-unders like we do every year. Of course, we have that coming up probably in the next month or so. Yeah. The Wolves, so they've pretty much nailed every move in terms of the Cat for Randall trade looks good for them. Like Baron J was awesome in summer league.
I really, the Dillingham thing is like the only like
that's the one thing that holds me back from putting them towards the top.
Yeah,
is that the Rob and like I think Rob might be fine, but like it's very similar to the Knicks where they just got like too excited.
It is Conley too. I mean, Conley is the goat. Like if you want to start crediting Conley for like his Nuggets work too, like he definitely should be an S tier, but like we're only doing A tier stuff. So I it's probably not fair, but I'm not holding the Rob thing against Conley as much because I believe in him. He's just until further notice. Like I doubt Tim Conley at my own discretion. I think pound for pound, I think he's been like the most impressive GM where like Presti and Sam Presti and Brad Stevens have like, they've nailed it, but they've also had like very easy roads. Like
Tim Conley is like the Kyrie of GMs. Like
yes,
he's like, his aesthetic is just so good that people will be like, he's better than Chris Paul.
Exactly.
No, he's not, but I understand. I get it. I understand why you're so excited about him.
Hooper's GM.
He really is. The Rob thing is such a Hooper move, dude. You're like, fuck it, we're going to get Rob. By the way, I think about this a lot because, like, look, Jared McCain never would have went with that pick. But, like, imagine they did that and they drafted Jared McCain and then Jared McCain was the replacement for Mike Conley.
Oh, my God, dude.
Like, and everyone would have been like, they're insane. And then Jared McCain was at Jared McCain. Like, it would just be so funny.
It would have been awesome.
Amazing. I
feel like you can't have Ant and Jared McCain in the same locker room.
It's a good point.
He understands personality. Daryl Morey would have just put him in the same locker room.
Yeah, because he doesn't care about the personality mix. Yeah. He just says the talent's the talent, it will win out. So
A tier for our beautiful
A tier. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think we put them. I would put them ahead of the Cavs. I'm gonna be honest.
So you're putting them 4?
They've made the conference finals twice. The Cavs haven't in an easier.
Yeah. And this conference finals was a little bit more Mickey than the previous one. I was very much like, I don't think this team's as good as last year. I just think that they got beneficiary of a weaker Lakers team that had made the Luka trade halfway through the year. The Warriors lost. Steph and Jimmy was injured during that series, but they still made the conference finals back-to-back years, which they've never done before.
It's only the Cavs had a hard path.
No. And by the way, while I didn't love the Rob pick, the Terrence Shannon Jr. pick was great. And on draft night, I was like, that's a really good pick. Like, I was like, that was the kind of pick that I thought the Bucks should have made. Yeah. Or one of those teams that was like that is like, oh, we got a 24, 25-year-old wing that can just plug and play. And he's going to be the Nickeil Alexander-Walker for them next year, basically. Yeah. All right. So we'll put them in A. We'll put them 4 behind the Knicks, ahead of the Cavs.
Yeah.
And then we have the Magic and Pacers left.
I think the Magic, kind of belong at the back of the A tier because they're one of the biggest proof of concept teams. I guess the Rockets are too, but like they don't. So
here's the thing with the Magic. If we had done this before the offseason, I would have said B or C.
Agreed.
But they nailed the offseason so much, and put themselves in like a different echelon of team to me.
Yes.
Because even though they missed on the Jet Howard pick a few years ago, which is such a bad pick in retrospect, Honestly was bad at the time. We all knew it was not even we all knew that was a terrible pick. Right. The thing that they have done, they finally decided to go get guards. They got in one offseason, got Jace Bain and Tyus Jones. It's a pretty big upgrade off what they had last year. And then they pretty much have done like you could debate the Paolo thing, but like I still believe in Paolo. I think that Paolo is someone that is going to be really good next year. Franz was the best player on the board when they drafted him. And I think that they're doing
Wendell Carter Jr. getting him for the Roots trade is just, I think that was the same front office, right? Is it?
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this was all. So I think Weltman was in the front office, and I think that if I remember correctly, Magic fans might correct me on this. Yeah. I think Rob Hennigan was still around, but I think Weltman was like in charge. Yeah, and I think Weltman took over, and then Hennigan like stepped down like a year or two ago.
Suggs pick, right pick at the time, has been good.
Good. I mean, look, he's still one of the 6 to 8 best players, and they got him at 5, and then they got Franz a few picks later. So like,
like it's you can quibble about like the Suggs extension. I think it'll be fine.
I think it's good.
I think it's good, and I think like Anthony Black is probably the like most.
He's the swing piece for them.
The swing piece, like, and we'll see if he's any good. But like, what they drafted him at 9 or something like that, right? Like,
no, he was 6. That's why I think he's the big swing piece for them. The thing they have going for them is the next 3 guys haven't really done anything in the NBA. They were taken right after him, which was Bilal, Jarris, and Taylor Hendricks. Yeah. The one thing, like, you have to get up to Lively at 10, and then. I'm sorry, Case and Wallace at 10, and then Lively at 12 to really care. But they also took Jet Howard at 11. So,
Case and Wallace would have been so good for them.
If we drop them in the future, it's probably because of that draft. But I think Anthony Black has a chance to be like solid.
I still like him. I still like him a lot. He's my type of player, though. So I'm a little bit of a pervert about guys in his mold. So yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with putting them at the end of A tier. The Pacers. So the Miles Turner thing kind of leaves a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, but they did make the NBA Finals. They scammed in 2 trades, basically, with 3. Siakam, Nesmith, and Halliburton all are massive wins for the Pacers.
And all extremely, we just talked about how Tim Conley's a hooper. Similarly, what's his name?
Kevin Pritchard.
Sorry. Kevin Pritchard is... Again, a high degree of difficulty, which I respect a lot more.
Fuck it, we ball.
Yeah, this is the fuck it, we ball GM. Like in terms of like doing shit like trading Paul George for fucking Victor Oladipo and Sabonis, and everyone's laughing at you because you didn't get any picks, and then you
Oladipo makes the All-Star game, and then Sabonis makes All-Star games, and then you turn him into
Halliburton. Yeah, like
the one thing I don't think they do well is draft, but like. They haven't missed necessarily. It's just been more of like, we'll see with Jarris Walker, because once again, I just ran down that range. Is kind of weird in that draft.
They did draft TJ Leaf, and
that was so long ago at this point, 2017. Like, the TJ Leaf pick is bad, especially when you consider there was like John Collins and OG Anunoby and a few of those guys on the board, because he was like an instant bust.
The thing is, he's been around, again, one of the longer tenured GMs in the league. Been around forever. Like, so
his worst pick is probably the Duarte pick.
Yeah, Duarte was the other one I was trying to think of.
Because Jalen Johnson was on the board, Trey Murphy was on the board, Quentin Grimes was on the board. Yeah, they had a lot of really good options, and like that was the range that some of those guys were projected in by the time the draft came around too.
Yeah,
so that's a tough beat. They've been really good at second draft guys though. Obi Toppin. TJ McConnell,
Nesmith in some ways.
Nesmith for sure. No, Nesmith is a classic second draft guy.
Yeah.
And then the Nembhard pick was really good. And they made the NBA Finals, and they crushed 2 major trades.
I don't think it's debatable that they're A tier. I know that
they're definitely A tier. I just don't know where to put them. Because like I do want to hold a little bit of, but it's not like the Knicks have drafted.
I would put them in between the Wolves and the Cavs, I think.
So you think that they're the 5th best front office in the NBA?
Yes.
Okay, so let's run down this now that we've put this on here, and we'll see if we want to make any changes. All right.
Okay.
Thunder 1, Celtics 2, Knicks 3, Wolves 4, Pacers 5, Cavs 6, Rockets 7, Magic 8. Then we go down to the B tier, and it's Lakers. So Lakers would be 9 then. Lakers 9. God, the Lakers are the 9th best front office team. That doesn't seem right.
No, let's move that back. Let's put them in the middle of the tier. Let's put them behind the Clippers. I guess the Luka trade is a swindle, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Are they? Also, I don't know if we could have the Lakers front office in front of the Grizzlies. That seems sacrilegious, right?
Well, they do end up with all of the Grizzlies' old players: Jake LaRavia, Marcus Smart, Trey Jamison or Jamison, however you say his name.
I think the Lakers and Warriors are kind of comparable. Like, I think we should have those two together. I think we moved the Grizzlies.
Okay, so we'll move the Grizzlies 1 back. Okay, so then the Nuggets would be 9.
Yeah, like
they're new. These are the 2 new teams. The Hawks 10.
Yeah.
The Clippers 11. The Grizzlies 12. The Lakers 13. The Warriors 14. The Pistons 15. The Heat 16. The Blazers 17. The Sixers 18. The Wizards 19. The Spurs 20. The Bucks 21, the Mavericks 22, the Hornets 23, the Nets 24, the Pelicans 25. That's all D tier. And then 26, the Raptors, 27, the Jazz, 28, the Suns, 29, the Bulls, 30, the Kings. All in the F tier.
That all makes sense to me. I do think we need to move the Knicks back a little bit. They're not third. They're great, but I think.
See, would you put them 5?
I would put them 5. I
think every team in the top 4 has either made the finals or multiple conference finals. So Thunder won the finals recently. The Celtics won the finals recently. Back-to-back conference finals for the Wolves. Pacers made the finals and the conference finals.
Almost won the finals. Was like an injury.
Let's put up 3.
Yeah.
Even with the Miles Turner thing, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. To make a team that went to back-to-back conference finals, almost won the finals, built a team that is like so unique and cool.
Yeah.
I'll go 3 Pacers, 4 Wolves, 5 Knicks, 6 Cavs, 7 Rockets, 8 Magic.
That's right. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we feel good about the newbies being 9 and 10 with the Nuggets and the Hawks, or do we want to move the Clippers up or the Grizzlies up there?
No, I don't think those teams have earned anything. And these are new teams, and they've done good. They've done good. You know, like this is a microcosm of the year. I would say if there was something like crazy going on back there, but I don't.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
I feel good about this. Yeah.
All right, we hit our quota. We got over 2 hours in the middle of August, as we usually do. Thursday night, you want to rewatch the 2015 draft?
Would love to.
On the Patreon. All right, so we're gonna go on the Patreon. If you're not already signed up, if you're not, what are you doing? And we're gonna watch the 2015 draft. We'll post highlights of it, but for copyright reasons, we have to put it behind the Patreon wall. Also, we need money, so
yeah,
that too.
We would love to do it for free, but
well, we released one for free last year, and it was the Ringer stream that we watched with Slightly Biased. But the 2013 and 2014 are up on the Patreon as well if you want to watch the Bill Simmons drafts we did last year, which I'm sure you already know about. But this was fun.
Not signed up for the Patreon. I'm just saying, we've got a lot of content. We've got a lot of. You're missing the good. You could have known about the Luka trade 2 days early if you were in there.
Yeah, we were the only ones who knew.
Mention, I mean, yeah.
By the way, I just wanted to tell you that my whole thing was shams with the Giannis thing, where he keeps being like last soldier on the island in Japan with the Giannis thing.
Yeah,
I think it's because he has PTSD from the Luka trade, and that he wasn't like plugged in for this trade, and it came out of nowhere, and he's like, this will never happen again. I will be saying the Giannis thing until it happens, because I will never be on the other side of a trade happening and me not knowing about it.
Man. Yeah, I mean, it would be crazy if there was a Giannis trade out of nowhere, because I was kind of like, are we sure Giannis isn't going to get traded? I feel like the ship has sailed.
Everything he has said has been that he's literally posting about playing in Milwaukee for the rest of his career. We'll see how that is in a year, but like for now, I feel pretty confident it's not happening, dude. Like,
No, it's perfect.
I don't know. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you for watching. If you watched, if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that stuff. You're watching still. You probably already did, but we'd appreciate it. Be back soon. Peace.